Hello, my loves. It's been a time and I feel I haven't really spoken out to the current situation. So let me do that and let me tell you why I believe that right now children are the weakest link in our societies, and they are also our greatest chance of hope and our greatest chance of moving out of this situation. And in this little call today, I would love to have a conversation around what I'm seeing happening right now on a global level and what's happening to children on a global level. And then let's talk about how we can help children right now really overcome this incredible stress and the increase of adversity that we're seeing all over the planet, right? So we're seeing a global rise in depression. We're seeing a global rise in suicides. So I don't know if you saw that just recently a leading doctor, so a doctor in charge in the Bay Area of California, reported that just in the last 4 weeks, they've had a year's worth of suicides just in the Bay Area of California. We're seeing a huge rise in alcoholism, so a lot of domestic violence, a lot of child abuse is happening, and I really feel that urgency for all of us to step it up and do something about this, because I think we've never had a time like this before where we are being confronted with so much information, so much darkness is coming out, right? We're seeing all these connections about those that are in power, those that are right now running the show. And a lot of us, I think, are feeling a lot of unrest maybe inside, but also that need to do something. Because when we do something about the situation that we are experiencing right now, we will automatically feel more empowered. And right now, I am alarmed at the state of disempowerment. I'm alarmed at the state of fear that is currently happening, and I have great concerns for our children, because our children are so sensitive to this global fear, this pandemic, this hypnosis that is happening, right? Of people going so much into fear that they're giving up hope, they're ending their lives. And children are part of our global societies, obviously, right? And their brains and their whole systems are so incredibly sensitive. And we need to know that they are sponges for all of this energy, just as much as we are, even more so. And the reason for that is that the children's brainwave states that children are in up until the age of about 12, 13, when they switch into puberty and their brain switches into beta, which is where we mostly are most of the time, up until the age of 12, children are in their main programming years, which means that their brainwave states are super relaxed. When babies are born, up until the age of 2, they're in delta most of the time. Now, delta is a brainwave state where you and I are asleep, right? Then from the age of 2 until 7, they switch into theta. The theta brainwave state is still a deeply relaxed brainwave state that we need quite some practice usually to get into, right? And then only from the age of 7 until the age of 12 do they switch into the alpha brainwave state, still a relaxed brainwave state. And that means that in those relaxed brainwave states, we are highly suggestible. And now I'm a master hypnotist among my many labels that I carry. And in hypnosis, we learned the 3 components that we need to put someone into a state of hypnosis. So a deeply relaxed brainwave state where they are highly suggestible to information and to suggestions. And the 3 elements that you need to put someone into hypnosis are: number 1, shock. Create shock and the brain goes, oops, what's happening? Number 2 is create confusion. Now think about all the confusing and conflicting messages that are going on right now. Wear masks, don't wear masks. Actually, masks don't help, but wear them in any case, etc., right? And then after shock and confusion, you have repetition. You just keep saying the same thing until the brain says, okay, that must be true. And we know that right now there is so much truth and so much untruth, so much fake news being spoken, that everyone is challenged to find out, what is really true right now, and even more importantly, what can we do about it? So if we look at this vulnerable state that our children are in and we see the messaging that they are receiving right now, we have to realize that so many of them are not getting their needs met. And I'm talking about basic human needs. And one of them is, for instance, physical touch, right? Physical touch is virtually ruled out right now. Unless you're next of kin and you're in quarantine together, you're actually being called to keep distance, keep distance. We are not acknowledging that physical touch is one of the primary love languages, and we're denying our children right that now. We're not giving them a safe space where they develop empowering beliefs about themselves. They're being taught to live in fear. So that's a physical touch component. But then we have so many other things that are right now not making sense and are creating a lot of anxiety, especially in children. And children's systems are also so vulnerable because they're vagus nerve. So that's our longest, strongest nerve in the body, and it connects our brain with our gut, right? And with children, that brain-gut axis is still totally open. And that's the reason also why children, when they feel stress, often will complain about a tummy ache. They don't feel well, they don't want to eat. That's usually because their system is being stressed. And if our system is being stressed on a chronic level, that means that our autonomous nervous system, so the system that runs everything like our heartbeat and our digestion and our hormonal system, all that stuff, goes into stress as well. And that means that our brain goes into stress. When our brain goes into stress, we will revert back to the oldest part of our brain. We'll go into the reptilian part of our brain, which means that in most of the time we'll either be in freeze, or we'll be in flight, or we'll be in fight. Right? And that is where our children are being now. And when our children are in those stressed brainwave states, we will see that they will have physical consequences. We see stunted growth in children that have a lot of stress growing up. Then we have all the trauma that is going on. Think about it. So many people are right now losing their jobs. They have huge financial worries. Of course, those children are going to pick up on those worries too. Now imagine that you're, I don't know, some family somewhere incredibly worried about financial problems, and then you maybe have the hang of going to alcohol towards that to numb it down, to be able to deal with it, right? So we have this alcohol, we have the abuse going on in families, and then of course fuses will explode. People are not taught how to deal with emotions, and our children are not. So if we don't teach our children how to deal with their emotions, how to manage their emotions, how to transform emotions and deal with stress, we're literally creating a generation of zombies. And then I'm not even talking about the entire pharmaceutical companies and all that's going on, where children are from a very early age on already in many countries being given drugs to alter their brain states, to alter the way that they're functioning, because they're being told that the way you are is not right. And what we're not doing is we're not looking at the system right now, and we're not recognizing that the system that we have in place right now is not supporting the welfare of our children. And as you might have noticed, that gets me pretty fired up because I know that our children are our future, and you know that too. And we have to right now create structure and create a program, help for children, to give them that help they so desperately need right now. We need to be teaching them life skills, not more frontal education of more knowledge that is often totally useless. If children don't even know how to grow food, they don't even know how to help themselves, how to cook, how to sew, how to deal with animals, how to deal with their emotions, how to connect to their highest intelligence. Because you see, when we're connected to our highest intelligence, we have to have a relaxed brainwave state. We have to be connected to our true selves, right? If we're in our emotional selves, just coming from that fear, flight, fright, and freeze reaction, we are not tuning into what is the wisest solution right now. We're not teaching our children compassion. Compassion is not taught in schools. We're teaching them a bunch of maybe religious stuff, but are we teaching them how to connect to their hearts, how to go to their happy place, how to find safety, how to ground down? In the current situation, we're even telling them they're not allowed to exercise at schools. All gym programs have been cancelled. Anything where children could come together and play in a natural way, not possible. Baby elephant between them. It's insane, right? So in all this insanity, I have decided it is time that we get together and we teach our children, when we teach ourselves by being those role models, how to deal with the situation in a wise and compassionate way. And for all of that, I need your help. I really am asking you, join my upcoming webinar, join my Joyful Kids training. It's one day of training where you will walk out as an ambassador for Joyful Kids. You will know the 5 steps to joy. I will teach you the tool that you can use to teach a 3-year-old or a 93-year-old how to step out of stress, how to transform emotions and step into a state of empowerment, because that's what we all need right now. And when we find it in ourselves, then we can also teach those around us. So in the Joyful Kids training program, I will teach you in one day, and it's going to be a super fun day where Grace is going to join us. She's my 10-year-old daughter, and I'm going to not only walk you through those steps, but I'll teach you simple ways how you can have amazing conversations with children, how you can find out what is really going on right now. How can I help you? How can I support you? How can you find the blessing in this situation? Let's have conversations with our children about gratitude. Let's have conversations around the feelings that they have and that this is normal. All human beings have feelings, but it's how we deal with them and how we respond to stress that determines that difference, whether we're going to be a victim of our life story or we're going to come out a victor. And I believe children not only deserve to pursue their happiness, they need to deserve and find their joy, because when they find their joy, when they find that self-confidence inside of themselves, they're going to naturally foster that sense of compassion. And when we all do that, we can create healthy and functional communities on this planet. And until we have that utopia of a functioning planet where all the resources are being used in the wisest and most compassionate way, I suggest let's help those that need it most. And those are the children. They are the most vulnerable. And when we help them, then we can truly create a shift on this planet that has a legacy where we know, at least I want to know that day when I choose to leave this planet, leave this body, I want to go knowing I did everything I could to help this planet, all of us, right, move through the shift that we're experiencing. And I think many of us have known for years that this shift is coming. We've been told in many predictions that this is happening. We know that planet Earth needs it. We're pests on planet Earth as human beings right now. We're depleting this planet, we're abusing it, we're misusing the resources, we're toxifying the planet, and something needs to change. So I always remind myself when I have nightmares about all the evil that's going on, I remind myself it's those millions of dreams of that utopia, that willingness to step it up and say, you know, I don't care what you think about me. You may have your opinion, but we need to look at the facts of what's happening right now and realize that this is an awakening. This is really an invitation for every single one of us to step it up and no longer be ashamed of who we are and what we believe in, but to really be that counterforce to all the other stuff that's going on this planet. And hi Petra, hi everyone joining. Thank you so much for making this time. And I would really love to have you in the Joyful Kids. I'd love to show you how we can truly, in very simple ways, create change. So the Joyful Kids program, I'm so proud of it because my aim was to create a global initiative, something that could be taught in every country on this planet, even if children don't understand what we're saying, even if they speak a different language, even if they maybe don't hear well, or children that maybe don't see well, or what about children that have learning difficulties, or what about children that maybe are missing parts of their body? What if I could create something that would help everybody? That was my aim. And I believe I found something. I really believe I found a piece of the puzzle that can truly help anyone who's interested. Because the only tools that we use are our awareness, right? Our body and our breath. Awareness, body and breath. Because that is something that we all have at all times. We don't need any apps. We don't need any... We need no props. We all have that. So by using those 3 tools, I created a program that is able to be taught to so many different children because I've taken all the NLP, so neuro-linguistic programming, all the different channels of information into consideration. I know that we all learn differently. Some of us are total visual learners. We need to see something. Others of us are more auditory learners. Others are kinesthetic learners. We need to experience it in our bodies. And you know, when we tune into that channel of that preference, right, that preferred channel, and we respect that in education, children learn with ease. I believe it's time we bring joy back into education. We bring safety back into education. We bring exploration back. what if we could make schools sanctuaries for children, places where children are safe, where they have access to clean water, to healthy food, where they're being nurtured on all levels. I know that not all parents on this planet can give that nurturing their children, not because they're bad, but because maybe they didn't receive it themselves. So currently, we're just repeating dysfunctional patterns of disease and violence. And when we change that around and start fostering the weakest ones in society, and we will see that change happen. And I really believe we will truly all benefit from that. And if any of that resonated with you, then I would love to see you on the 13th of June. And if you still don't believe me that I've got it and this might be worth your time, then join me for the upcoming webinar. And there we'll talk for 1 hour about the program. I can't teach it to you in an hour. I mean, I could teach you one bit, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach you the most powerful tool in that kit, and that is the ability to do the 5. And when you can do the 5, you have a tool in your pocket where you can transform stress. You can transform those moments when you maybe get overwhelmed with negativity, because we all have those moments. It's human, it's normal. And if we have a tool then to be able to step out of that stress and tune into our wiser selves, then we can find better solutions and we have more clarity in life. We will feel more confidence inside of us. And I want that for you, and I would love that for your children. So the training on the 13th of June is mainly for those who would like to be ambassadors. So people who are working with children, caretakers, parents, the aunts and the uncles who love their nieces and nephews, or I don't know, if you just care about children, then join. If you are someone who would like to be able to help themselves step out of stress and understand your emotions better, then join too, because it's a fun way of doing it. I'm incorporating everything I know and that I have learned from my over 20 years of working in coaching, in personal transformation, in education, and I'm using it to put it out there as a missing link, as something that I hope big corporations and big charities will pick up, because I think there's so many people out there already doing good, helping children in many different ways, but I think we're missing this bit. And when we implement that bit as a standard part of our education, then I think we're going to change this world. And I would love you to be part of that. So join me. And I think it's